Hey, what's up, cats and kittens? And shout out to all my cerebralites. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, and I am back with another episode of Reality. And if you can tell by my voice, I definitely need some tea. And that's TEA because I give it to you scalding hot. So grab your cups, grab your saucers, gather around, and let's all partake in this libation of Real Housewives of Atlanta tea. All right, people, first of all, let me apologize in advance for my voice. I am sick. Well, you know what? I actually physically feel well, but I've just been battling like a little bit of a sore throat. But overall, physically, I feel well, much better than I sound. So, enough about me. Let's talk about season 11, episode 8 of Real, Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I know I've missed a few episodes, so I'm going to talk about a couple things from previous episodes too. But let's dive right into last night's episode and talk about the girls down in, I believe it's Miami, a small town called Destin, where the girls are. And anywhere the housewives go, it's destined to be a mess. And this episode did not. The funny thing about this particular episode is that it started off really jovial. I was excited. I'm like, okay, we're actually going to get like a full blown episode of all the ladies getting along, sort of showing this whole sisterhood moment. So I was really excited to see that, even though I knew that that wouldn't be able to carry out throughout the season, because who wants to watch people getting along on TV? That's absolutely not fun. So I knew that that couldn't be long lived, and it wasn't. So the girls are in this house that Nene rented. And before I talk about anything, let me just talk about Nene. I don't like Nene. I am not a Nene Leakes fan. To me, she is fake, phony, opportunistic, disingenuous. I mean, any adjective that you can think of to define a person that you wouldn't want to be around, to me, is Nene. She's a bully. Um, she has to be the queen bee. Anytime her crown is remotely threatened, she will attack. She will pounce. And we've seen this happen with Sheree. We've seen it happen with Portia. We've seen it happen with Kenya. We've seen it happen multiple times where there's a girl who comes into the circle and she's new, and for whatever reason, Nene finds a reason to take issue with someone who she absolutely has no reason to have an issue with. Now, the new girl is Tanya. I'm not sure how you pronounce her name, but she and Nene were apparently acquaintances. I wouldn't classify them as friends. Definitely not the way that Nene treated her last night. To me, Nene pimped her for a storyline last night. Nene's storyline this entire season has been primarily centered around Greg and him being ill. Beyond that, she's been sort of the facilitator. Her role has been to put together trips and events, but she really doesn't have a whole lot going on that makes people want to watch her because she just doesn't have much going on. So, in order to garner a storyline, she decided to attack Tanya last night for absolutely no reason. So let me tell you guys what happened. So they're in the house down in Florida. It's raining, so everyone is sort of sequestered. No one can go out in the rain. And Nene decides that she wants to partner with Portia in putting together this, you know, bitch stole my talent competition between the ladies. So you had Eva versus Cynthia in a model off. You had Tanya versus Marlo in a fashion off, and then you had Candy versus Shamari in a sing off. So, and then you had Portia and Portia and Nene were the hosts, and so they were competing to see who was the best host. And even when she was hosting, Nene was so over the top, so ostentatious, so annoying, making all of these sounds just, I don't know. She's just tacky to me. I just don't dig her for whatever reason. She's just not my personal judge. I mean, if that's your thing, then go for it. But there's just something about her that I just do not like. I cannot put my finger on. I can't put my finger on it. She's fake. I don't like her. She's desperate. She ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. So anyway, so they put together this whole event, and the first one up was Marlo. I believe it was Marlo versus Tanya. Or was no the first competition was the model off. So you had Eva the Diva versus Cynthia Cheekbones Bailey. So the two of them are walking, and I have to say, on initial impressions, I'm like, Eva is about to murder Cynthia. Like, this is not even a fair competition. So Eva gets up, and Eva is stunning, no matter what, as far as I'm concerned. And so too is Cynthia. So Eva gets up, she walks, she does her thing, and so I'm like, uh-oh, Cynthia's in trouble. So Miss Cynthia Bailey gets up, she puts on her shades, she's like, okay, is this what we're doing? So Cynthia hits her poses, she's doing her thing, and then all the girls voted. Now I'm not sure if it was a sympathy vote or if it was really, but based on what I saw on TV, Cynthia actually did win. So Cynthia won. All the girls voted for Cynthia. She walked away with the modeling title. So up next we had Marlo versus Tanya. Now Tanya, from what I know based on the show, I believe both she and her husband work in IT, information technology. And so they have some businesses in Silicon Valley, what have you. And she was a patron of Nene's swag boutique, and that's how the two of them became friends. Now one might say, in Nene's defense, even though she's a bully or she's disingenuous, part of the reason why she may be so defensive around some of these people is because my thought process leads me to believe, if Tanya is this high-end shopper as she claims to be, and the word high-end will come back here in this conversation, if she's this high-end luxury shopper, what are you doing in Swag Boutique? Now, the reason you're in Swag Boutique is because you know that it's owned by Nene. And so I'm of the belief that part of the reason why you may have gone into Swag Boutique to begin with is to foster some sort of relationship with Nene, hoping that it would advance your own agenda, your own products, and use it as a means of getting your brand out there. And so in that respect, I can understand Nene's disposition sometimes, because sometimes people just want some of your stardust. When you're on top, when you have that shine, people will try to attach themselves to you because they're trying to get some of what you have. And so that can make you defensive. It can harden you. So I get that part of why Nene might be a little bit defensive. Excuse me, you guys. So Tanya, who is this bourgeois, uh, uppity, high class, sophisticated, refined, upper echelon shopper, is patronizing Nene's store, Swag Boutique. Now, Swag Boutique is, I guess we'll call it mid-tier shopping. It's not low end. It's not Walmart. It's not Forever 21. It's not Fashion Nova. You're gonna, a pair of sunglasses in there, apparently based on what we saw last night, are gonna cost you upwards of $120. If you go on Fashion Nova, you can get, shout out to Fashion Nova, by the way, you can get a pair of sunglasses for $4.99. So that to me is what I would consider low end shopping. So I would consider Swag Boutique and their price range to be mid-tier shopping. So they're having this walk-off, and I'm giving you guys all this backup to set up the story here. So they're having this walk-off, Marlo versus Tanya. Marlo comes out first. Marlo looked fab. I forget what she had on. I know it was a short set with some sort of a hoodie. I forget the brand. And so I was like, okay, Marlo murdered that. And then we see Tanya coming up the stairs, and she has on like these white palazzo pants and this white, black and white sort of scoop neck top, nautical sort of. It was a very nautical resort look that she was rocking, and a Chanel bag. So everyone is sort of like looking at her, looking at Tanya sideways, like, this is what you're gonna do. This is what you're competing in. So she sets her bag down, and Tanya gives a presentation. She doesn't come out and walk. She's like, okay, so this is how you do it. This is how you mix and match. I'm a shopper, so I like to mix high end with low end. I have on my Versace. I think she said Versace, but we're gonna say Versace. I have on my Dior this and my Dior that, and and then I'm gonna mix it with these low end sunglasses that I got from Swag Boutique. And baby, when I tell you, Nene's whole face changed the moment low end came out and was associated. Oh, okay. Give me a moment to collect myself, please. the moment. Oh, okay. All right. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Okay. So the moment that Tanya said that her glasses were low end, Nene turned into a shapeshifter. Like her whole face, her whole mug just dropped in an instant. She was like, "Did this bitch just really call my boutique low end?" So she felt this in some type of way, and you can see it. And even in the moment that the word low end came out, I was sitting here watching it like, "Oh my God, did she just say low end?" Associated with Nene's boutique, because we all know Nene and we know how she is. So the fact that she called her boutique low end was the coup de grace for Nene. At that point, all bets were off. Her face shifted. She was upset, and she mentioned it casually in that moment. But later on, it came back when the girls all went to dinner. So ultimately, Tanya won the walk off. Marlo was the loser, and so that was that. Then up next, we have the singing competition. We have Shamari versus Candy. Now, before the singing competition even began, they showed Candy in her room doing her warm ups. Candy's in there getting her Mariah Carey and her Minnie Riperton on, like she's trying to break class with some of these notes she's hitting. And we see Shamari, and I'm like, oh, Shamari is in trouble because Candy is not here to play. Candy's like, you will not embarrass me on my own show. So Shamari comes, they come down to sing. Shamari goes first. Now, I know Shamari. I mean, when I say I know her, I know of her from the group Black. And I just don't remember Black really having any power ballads or any songs that really showcase Shamari's vocal prowess. But when she sang His Eyes on the Sparrow, I feel like I've been cheated. So she started singing. I'm like, oh, she can really sing. I mean, there was a few times where I felt like she did a little extra more than was required. But overall, her voice had a lot more power and a lot more range than I knew it or believed it to have. So up next we have Candy Burris. So Candy comes up, and there was just something in that moment where I was like, you know how you watch people through your fingers? Like, have you ever watched Showtime at the Apollo and someone comes on and you're like, oh God, Lord, please take this person off the stage? That's kind of how I felt when I was watching Candy. Even though it wasn't horrible, there were moments where her voice just, it wasn't getting me where I was trying to go. But there were some moments she hit some high notes, and I was like, okay, Candy. But ultimately, I do believe that Shamari in that particular moment outsang Candy. Do I believe Candy is a better singer? I don't know. I like the tone of Candy's voice better. I like the raspiness. I like the heaviness of Candy's voice. So I like the low notes. So I'm more of a fan of Candy's voice than I am Shamari. But if I had to give a win, I would have to give the win to Shamari. And ultimately, everyone else voted for Shamari, so she won. So, and of course, when time came down to vote for the host, everyone voted for Nene, as they should have, because if they wouldn't have, chances are she would have put them hoes out in the rain. That's just the type of woman she strikes me as. So, what else happened? So there was all of this hubbub about Portia being pregnant. People trying to put together clues. I really like Portia this season. I really like her relationship with Dennis. I'll admit I was one of the first people who was a little cynical. I felt like she was moving a little fast. But I realized in an instance, love doesn't move on the same timetable for everyone. And that's not to say that the relationship between Portia and Dennis won't be plagued with problems, but what relationship isn't? It doesn't matter if you wait, or if you get married tomorrow, or if you wait 3 years to get married. There is no foolproof way to avoid confrontations and issues in a relationship. So I feel like if you find someone who works for you and you want to try it and paint and color outside the lines and do things on your own accord and not necessarily follow the status quo, I'm here for it. So I really like the relationship between Portia and Dennis. I'm really happy for her. I think that her baby is going to have a good time because Portia is a... Can you imagine Portia as a mom? She seems like she would be the coolest, most fun mom that you could ever want. So I'm really excited. I think she's going to be a great mom. And I'm here for the relationship between she and Dennis. Even though, again, I was a little cynical. When he cried last week, I was like, okay, you know what? That's it. I'm all in. When she told him she was pregnant last week and he buried his head in her shoulder and just broke down. It was like the sweetest thing I have seen. It was nice to see a black man showing emotion. It was nice to see a man on TV who was happy to find out that his woman was with child, and not trying to, make an appointment to go on Maury. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was really a really great moment. So all the girls are back in Destin trying to figure out if Portia's pregnant. Nene goes and confronts Portia, and Portia basically tells her that she does not know, even though she knows she's pregnant, but she didn't completely spill the beans. And so she hatches this plan to mix Coke and apple juice in a Hennessy bottle and pretend like it's alcohol for the sake of throwing some of the girls off her trail, because Marlo says, girl, I feel it in my spirit, Portia is pregnant. Her stomach is getting a little bigger. She's not drinking. She's been eating pickles. Like, these girls are piecing together this puzzle, and they're on Portia's ASS. So Portia decides to have this plan, and she puts the apple juice in the Hennessy in a bottle, and she starts drinking it. The apple juice and the Coke in a Hennessy bottle, and begins to drink. And so they're like, okay, well, maybe she's not pregnant. She's drinking, because this whole time she'd been telling them she was on an alcohol cleanse. So I'm trying to think what. So anyway, they're at the table. So let's get to this part. So they're at the table, and Shamari's been feeling some kind of way because Marlo keeps barging into her room even before the singing competition, trying to force this makeover on Shamari that she desperately needs but does not want. I repeat, she desperately needs. Marlo is doing you a solid, homegirl. I promise you. You need this makeover, so, and even though I'm not, sometimes Marlo's fashions are a little over the top for me, I definitely think Shamari's so petite, so that frame that she has is one, like, even the big hat that they put on Shamari, I feel like that hat was too much for her, it was drowning her out. She didn't really need the hat. But Marlo decides she wants to, dress her up like a little doll, and Shamari goes along with the plan, but, ultimately she's really offended by the fact that Marlo keeps trying to force her fashion sense on Shamari. So when they're at the table, Shamari basically says, look, I didn't appreciate the way you came at me about the way I was dressed or the way I dressed. Marlo was like, I was just trying to help you out, trying to hook you up because you need the help. And, the other girls start chiming in, and, some people are on Shamari's team. Some people are on Marlo's team. I honestly feel like sometimes Marlo doesn't necessarily want to help. I think Marlo is looking for clients. She wants to sort of push her business, and since fashion is her brand, I think that sometimes when she's on TV, whether she's trying to turn that person into a client or whether she's trying to make a statement for people who may be watching, celebrities who may be watching, thinking, oh, she does have a great sense of style. Let me get in contact with Marlo. I think that there is a very blatant agenda that Marlo has when she's doing it, and I don't think that it's necessarily altruistic. I think that she definitely is looking to further her own business goals. So while they're at the table, Shamari basically says, look, I'm a grown woman. I know what I'm doing. I don't need you to dress me. I'm more concerned with spending time with my family than I am with fashion. That's just not a priority for me, so back up off of me. And, so she and Marlo basically get into these heated words. And, she's basically telling Marlo, like, how are you the fashion guru and Tanya just wore you out just a couple minutes ago? Girl, you have no business trying to tell me what to do when you can't even win a homemade fashion show. Like, nobody has time for you. And Marlo Marlo got in her feelings, and so she starts talking about Shamari and told her the only reason you won the singing competition is because you sang about Jesus. You sang a gospel song, but it wasn't based on talent, baby. You can't sing. And even Candy came back and said, look, now you can't talk about my girl Shamari. She can definitely sing. So after that, Shamari said the line that we've been hearing all season. She said, baby, I have been an A-list since you were an alias. And even though I've seen that line all season long, that's one of those reads you have to stand up and applaud. Like, so Shamari, they're going back and forth. Eva had to sip her drink on that read. And then because it got heated at the table, here comes Nene. So Nene is talking to Tanya, and she's like, I don't like ignorance. And so when she said that, I had to take a pause and say, you don't like what? Nene, have you heard yourself speak? Have you heard yourself speak when you say you don't like ignorance? I, I can't. I can't. You know, this woman was on TV for probably a full year saying bridemaid. You know what I mean? Like she cannot conjugate. Like I mean, the the way she speaks is just very very hard for me to listen to. And so we all know that Nene is not a Rhodes Scholar by any stretch of the imagination. You know what I mean? Like, were it not for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Nene would just be Nene, you know? And so she has this opportunity, and for some reason, her humility just seems to be dormant. Like, she just doesn't seem to understand that you're successful, but your success really isn't predicated on anything beyond exposure. The only reason that you are successful is because you're ratchet, you're ghetto, and people very often are laughing at you and not with you. You know, they're laughing at how ratchet and ghetto you are, how uneducated you are. You know, that's very often you are the joke, whether you know it or not. So she tells Tanya she doesn't like ignorance, and my closet is bigger than your closet. Like, are you serious right now? Are you serious right now? Like, Tanya's success is not based on being on reality television. She came into the show with real money. Nene and Greg were doing so when they first came onto the show. They had Atlanta money. They didn't have Orange County money. They didn't have Beverly Hills money. They didn't have New York money. They had Atlanta money, and they were doing okay because you can make six figures in Atlanta and live pretty lavishly because it's Atlanta. But outside of Atlanta, in New York, in Chicago, even in San Francisco, and in some of these more competitive housing and job markets, that $100,000 that Greg was potentially making, I don't know what he was making, but I'm just using that as an example of, a lot of your lifestyle is predicated on where you live. So when Nene first came into the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she was living okay. Like, she was middle class at that point. Tanya seems to be doing very well. She has a closet hidden behind a mirror. And Nene couldn't even take that. She's like, I expected more. You know what I mean? Like, I can't with her. You know what I mean? And so if I'm her friend and I'm watching her, and I go to someone else's house and I see her talking about someone else's closet and how it doesn't compare to her own, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I want that person to be my friend. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a difference if Tanya came and was talking about how her closet is better than Nene. But Tanya's just like, look at my closet, isn't it cool? Why shouldn't she be excited about that? Why shouldn't she celebrate that? But you don't take it as her celebrating it and sharing it with you. You take it as an opportunity for you to say, my stuff is better than your stuff. And to get upset because she calls your boutique low end. Well, Nene, it is low end. You are low end. And I agree 100% with Tanya. The Nene Leakes brand isn't on par with Louboutin or Louis Vuitton or Dior or Fendi or Hermes. It's not in the same category. They're not even remotely close. So for you to be offended by the fact that she stated a fact just speaks to the level of your hubris. How about that? Anyhow, you guys, I think I talked your ear off. I'm desperate to hear what you guys have to say, so make sure you comment below. As always, in closing, you guys, remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter than Nene. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share if you feel so inclined. I am Miss Cerebral Diva, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.